It's the final percent. The final percent.
All right, we are back with yet another episode of The Final Percent podcast, coming live from the truck. See, this was a good investment, babe, don't you think?
I absolutely love it. From the truck.
From the truck. You know, and sometimes it's going to be from the Jeep. Sometimes it's going to be from the top of a mountain. And, you know, it leads me into my next concept, and that is, are you real or fake? And there's a lot of people who say fake it till you make it. I have done that thing. There have been times where I am fighting a huge battle with, you know, maybe the state of Colorado or the landlord or this, that, and the other. And I have to, you know, be absolutely, you know, stone-faced. Everything's perfect. Check out my perfect food, my perfect house, my perfect, you know, car, all that, whatever. And what I realized is when we're staging content, I think that we should all start asking ourselves that question. You know, am I posting something that is real, or am I posting something that is fake? And I think it's important to realize that, and this is why we did this whole podcast, mobile podcast, at a moment's notice, do a podcast, is because we want to be able to capture the real moments of life. Because if it is a, you know, scheduled this, scheduled that, people are thinking about, you know, what do I want to sell? What do I want to get out? What's the message? What's the point of this? What's this? And don't get me wrong, marketing is important with business, but if that's the only information that you're putting out and it's so crafted and it is so just pointed in what its purpose is, you're going to forget about the real parts of life. And you're going to do things like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What do you think is going to get the most views? What do you think is going to get the most clicks? What do you think is... And yes, I get it. Attention it is where money flows, and you got to get eyeballs. You've got to get this, but that should not be your purpose. And when we're getting into the land of the influencer, and you get these people who are promoting... I talked to an MMA fighter, I don't know, a week or two ago, and he literally said, I don't take any supplements that people put in front of me, but I will endorse them if you pay me. And he goes, every single thing that I endorse, I don't take. Like, for instance, have you guys ever seen an MMA fight where they get handed the empty can of Monster, like Monster is the reason that this super jacked person just won the fight? Like, they don't drink Monster. That's not a thing, as a lot of my clients know that I say. But it's this perception, and perception is reality, but it's not. It's the perceived reality. And I think we need to understand that these influencers that are crafting shock, entertainment, awe, wowing us, trying to be as different as humanly possible, it's not necessarily healthy constantly pushing the envelope like that. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen the new movie Space Jam, but LeBron, and honestly, here's you know, I'll give you some controversial stuff right here. I liked the movie. I liked the movie a lot. I was incredibly entertained, and anyone who doesn't like it is just an absolute full-on hater. But he says fundamentals win basketball. And I think fundamentals will help you in life. Fundamental communication skills, fundamental knowledge in money, fundamental discipline, fundamental execution, fundamental action is so important. And there's a reason they say that it takes 11 years for the overnight success. And when people go, oh my God, it just happened out of nowhere. No, the person usually worked for about 11 years. On average, if you look at these things that look like they came out of nowhere, it's usually about 11 years. And so with that being said, I want to bring my wife on. And she has an incredible song coming out on our motivational album, which we have now dubbed the Life Album. And it is all about define. Well, now what does that mean? People get defined and labeled all the time, especially women. And I mean, what do you say? The pressures of perfection. What do you say in that line?
Suffocate the soul.
The pressures of perfection suffocate the soul. Now, this song, I think, is going to be incredibly powerful for anybody who listens to it, but certainly women who are real honest to God entrepreneurs. And, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, this is going to be sexist statement in itself, but in a lot of ways, way better than men. But they're scared, or they're not allowed the opportunity, or this, that, and the other. So I know I say this a lot, but without further ado, Mrs. Kimble, can you talk about, you know, getting defined, talk about the song, the process of the song, the motivational album, but very specifically this concept of define?
So Greg had asked me to come up with a word a few months ago that I knew was going to be, you know, my song, a title of a series that I was going to do for, you know, the motivational album, the motivational series, and everything like that. And it just, all he said, well, he didn't give me much guidance. All he said was, make sure it resonates with you and it's something that you know, feel comfortable diving headfirst into and really talking about. And I spent a lot of time thinking about it and really just trying to come up with some kind of word that, you know, not only resonated with me in my life, but I knew would resonate, that I knew would resonate with other people in the world, not just women, but men as well, since this is very much a societal problem. And I was actually in the shower when I was kind of just like trying to come up with a song, a melody.
For anyone who was thinking about her in the shower, she was fully clothed.
Yeah, so just totally G-rated. And I was trying to come up with a melody or some words, or just, I don't know, just kind of messing around, just seeing what would come out. And a part that I came up with was, you don't know me, you can't judge me, I define my soul. And I started singing a cool melody, and I was like, oh, that's really dope. Like, I'm vibing with this. And then I was like, oh, define. Like, I define my soul. I define what's possible for my life. I define my future. I define who I am. And I just was like, okay, that's my word. Like, I love it, because I have been guilty a lot on and off through pretty much my entire life of letting other people define me, or defining what I think is possible for my life, or, you know, kind of getting in the way of my dreams and getting into my own head. And then I'm getting in the way of my dreams, and I'm holding myself back, and all of these kind of things. And it really hit me in thinking about, you know, why is that? Where did it come from? And then it just is like, especially being, you know, a young woman growing up with the images you would see in the media of women in magazines, women now on social media, models, you know, women on films and in TV and in music videos, and just, you're supposed to look a certain way to be defined as beautiful, or defined as this, that, and the other. Successful, anything, like happy, you know, what does a CEO look like? You know, I had that in my head for a while too, of like, even when you would have asked me a few years ago, like, when you imagine a CEO, what does it look like? I would have said, like, an old white man in a suit. Like, that's like a serious man. And like, that's the vision I had in my head. And if you think about it, like, obviously, especially today, thankfully we've progressed a lot since then. That's no longer the case. And I realized over the years that I love the saying, my future lies within me. I have all the power and the tools I need within me. I just need to step up, and I need to be the CEO of my own life.
Amen.
Take back control of my life and define what's possible for me, and define reality for me.
Yes.
And I know I'm not alone in that, and just seeing, you know, the images I grew up seeing on TV and everywhere around me, everybody else grew up seeing the same stuff.
Exactly.
So I know, you know, the limiting beliefs, self-doubt, all of that, like anxiety, stress, depression, a lot of those things also stem from seeing these external images.
Exactly.
And that's why I started out the song by saying, I let you infiltrate my mind. I let you into my head to infect me and cause all of these things to happen, but not any, no more, no longer. No more.
Yeah.
It's part of the song. You'll get that here very soon. But I'm taking control back, and I'm taking charge, and I'm empowering myself now to move forward and define my future and really achieve my destiny. So that's kind of in a nutshell, how all that came to be and what it means to me, and I think it's extremely powerful.
That's a well said nutshell. So, and I think people, you got to remember, it's where you spend your time, where you spend your energy, what you let in your eyes, what you let in your ears. That's what's going to start defining you. And if you're going to be one of those people who try to rent the Lamborghini and then live up to that hype, and live up to the lifestyle before you can afford it, that definition is going to end up breaking you. And when you are mislabeled, misrepresented, and then you feel like you have to act a certain way, you've labeled yourself. You've labeled what's possible by breaking your future. You're mortgaging your future, essentially. And so before you say everything's perfect, or you use the Photoshop filter on Instagram, or I actually don't know what the filter would be, but I know there's like beautify this, beautify that. Just ask yourself, am I posting something that's actually real? Or am I posting something that is fake? And I think it's important that we just start asking ourselves that before we put content out. And, I've run the gamut because, I've always been a performer. I've always wanted to, I like the limelight. I'm not going to lie. It is what it is. But who I started to turn into early on in, trying to grab my spot of the light just didn't feel fun. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel real. And so, one of the people who has been powerful enough to challenge me on that is the person who's sitting right next to me. She has more integrity than any person that I've ever met. And there have been multiple times where, when I'll have an idea or I'll say, hey, this, and it's very clearly meant to try to get views or get this or get that. And just to be clear, this is years ago. We have really transcended as an organization and the way that we communicate. But she would challenge me and she would say, this isn't the person that I talk to at home. This isn't the person. I don't understand or know the person that's, in that video. And now sometimes, what? I'm a mushball. Sometimes I'm a dork. Sometimes I'm aggressive.
And I love it.
So, whatever you ever see us do now is 100% us. It is us just trying to get a message to people so that we can help other people figure it out faster than how long it took us to figure it out. So is there anything you can add with the real versus fake, especially as it pertains to that female dynamic? I just think it's incredibly important for what females are expected to go through, especially young females.
Yeah, especially in this influencer generation, it's really challenging. And I know a lot of women feel that pressure to, show the perfect life on social media. I mean, I notice it too. The more I spend on social media and I see, I follow these people and all their lives are so beautiful and their images are branded and they have all these filters and all these things on there, and it's not reality.
It's not reality.
And it's tough because then you live in this comparative reality and you think, oh, well, and in the land of I should be my house should look like that, or I should be dressed like that. I should do this. I should do that.
Should have more likes. Should have more followers.
I should always have perfect makeup and perfect hair and a perfect body and a perfect this and perfect that. And for a long time, that's why I wasn't as active on social media, because, not necessarily, to some extent, I felt like I needed to live up to that kind of standard. But also I just, I was really busy and these things were going on, and I just didn't feel like I had it in me to really like go all out and do that. And then I had the realization, that doesn't matter. I need to show me and who I am to the world, because what I offer and who I am, I think is pretty freaking cool.
Amazing.
I'm just saying, like, more people need to see a variety and see some actual authenticity out there, to let them know it's okay to actually be themselves and to do them and to just live their best life, if you will. And I think more people stepping out into the light and showing their true selves is gonna start that movement, because the world is starving for that right now. And I think the more people, especially women, who step out and say, hey, I'm going to shoot a video today, maybe, and I don't look perfect, or I didn't have all my ideas written down, or wasn't totally planned out, like we had said before, action over perfection. Just go out there and do it and be yourself, and you will attract the right audience and the right people who resonate with you and your story and what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that, and this, you have to have the opportunity to be real, and don't get addicted to the drama. There's just so much of the drama, and there's always three sides to every story. There's what they said, there's what you said, and then there's the truth. And if you look at it, everyone in Dr. Henry Cloud's book, Necessary Endings, he illustrates how we as society always have to vilify the opposition. So if you move, say, from, like I moved from Phoenix to Denver, and when I had moved here, when I got here, I was like, oh, Phoenix is terrible and Phoenix is this. I was vilifying Phoenix, not because I needed to warn them of Phoenix. Everyone knows Phoenix is hot. That's nothing new. What I was trying to do is make my decision make sense to me.
Yep.
And so I think that we need to be better about that. If it's kind of like, remember when we were young, people would say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Yeah.
If you see the negativity, if you see the toxicity, if you see all of the people that do that drama suck online, I think you need to cleanse yourself of those types of people and make sure that you don't buy into those kinds of narrative, because drama follows drama, drama breeds drama. And that's why, what do we always say? And Cayla's going to be able to get this, I know. If someone ever attacks us on social media and brings a bunch of negativity and ats us and goes after us on social media, what do we say? What's our motto? I thought she was going to get this. You should see the face that she's making.
I was like,
it's an American value. Let's see if we can pull it out of her. Oh, you guys! I wish we had a camera on this one. This is what Americans do when someone will call America and demand that they do something to get something back.
Oh, we don't negotiate with terrorists?
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
That's right.
If you are someone who airs their dirty laundry and you don't have enough class to go talk to somebody, and you don't have enough class to just, I'm not going to cuss because I don't have an explicit podcast. Just so you know, I do use colorful metaphors in my private life. But, I was talking to one of my teachers one time when I was learning audio. And this saying came back when I was talking to a really good friend of mine who owns Third and James here in town. Another great studio, an absolute fantastic record label. And he goes, I wish more people would not miss the opportunity to shut the beep up. And he goes, if you could, and because we own a school that teaches young engineers and production people, and he goes, if you could teach them one thing, that's literally all you need to teach people, is never miss an opportunity to just shut the beep up. I've got the gift of gab, and sometimes gets me into some trouble too. But the thing is if you want to do the drama thing, air your dirty laundry, do all of those things, just stop. And your life, if you stop being dramatic, your life will not be as dramatic. If you stop breeding the drama and, posting crap on Facebook, I have family members who would do that and had done it for years until they finally stopped, and they're like, wow, my life is so much better. Well, you're not attracting all of this negativity. And so, positive breeds positivity, negativity breeds negativity. And so I think that that's just important. And you could say, well, Greg, if I don't say how I feel, then I'm not being real. Remember the one rule that we had talked about that makes your life better. Never miss an opportunity to shut the beep up. So if you really need to be negative, go work it out with that person. Don't do it in a public forum. And if you really, really need, the negativity in your life, talk privately with your friends. Try to figure it out. But, imagine, if you're listening to this, imagining your dad, for instance, if he got into a big fight with someone, would he go take out a magazine ad or a newspaper ad saying, this guy did this, and this over, something? Or, one thing that I love that Jim Rohn says is he says, people are so quick to rip companies to shreds. Like, if you miss your flight, this is the last time I'm ever flying this air this, and blah, 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 and I hate them, and blah. Okay, when is the last time that you wrote yourself a negative review for you being late?
Ooh, that's good.
Bars.
All day bars.
But that's the thing. We have this sliding scale of standards that we try to apply to other people, and I guarantee you your life gets better if you can really double down, understand, and be better aware of your standards. So have a standard of grace, a standard of forgiveness, a standard of love, a standard of compassion, but be real with that. If you're going to forgive someone, forgive them, but don't go around town talking about it again, because that's not real forgiveness. If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to be there this, and this, then do it. Just follow through. Now, yes, nobody's perfect. We're all doing the best we can do, but just this is what the final percent is about, guys. Can you honestly say, hey, you know what, if you're an hour late to something, but it was the best you could do, it was the absolute best that you could do, an hour late's fine, because it was the best you can do, and I will respect anyone who gives me their very best. They go the final percent, because sometimes you can use everything in your entire tank, everything, and you can still fail. And that's okay. Just give your very, very, very best. So anything, we're actually finally, guys, we're pulling up to our house.
Hey!
Is there anything that you can add, sweetheart?
I think that was really well said. I was just going to say, I had this thought earlier that just there are pros and cons to every situation. I firmly believe that the way your life turns out is because perception's reality, how you perceive and how you then respond to those situations. So if you're constantly focusing on the cons and constantly focusing on negativity, that's the way your life is going to turn out, is a big ball of negativity. Mm-hmm. But if you choose to see the positive and you choose to focus on all the things you were talking about, forgiveness, compassion, love, all of that.
Empathy.
That's what your life will look like.
Yes. Well, we're pulling into our garage, and I've got this is a tight squeeze, so I'm going to concentrate on that. But thank you guys for going the final percent with us. And there's something to this marriedpreneurs thing. We might have to really explore this.
I like it.
Anyway, love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining me on this. And
I love you more.
Oh, she got me. All right. Go the final percent today, guys, and I appreciate you.
The final percent.